Liam is coming to derail the train, and that makes him dangerous.
Why is it going to be an exciting fight if you're only at 50%? Because you ain't going to be 60%, you're not going to be 50 for this. Stop telling lies.
He wants everything that I have, and he wants to take it from me. This is a very serious fight.
You know, just turn up 100%. I know I can beat 100% Chris Eubank Jr.
While it lasts, it's going to be very exciting.
I think he's lucky he got his dad's chin, and he's lucky he's fit and durable, because if he's not that, he's not really a tough night's work for anybody.
He thinks he can win. He believes it. His team believe it. They're mistaken. They're sadly mistaken.
Everybody in boxing saying great fight, great fight, great fight. Either you're deluded or everyone else is tick. Like,
I think the Eubank name's got many more years in the game. I don't think there's any comparison. I really don't. But, you know, I can't come back from a loss at this stage, so...
He loses to me, he should retire.
Yeah, I kind of do see each and every fight now as the most important fight of my career.
Welcome to The Wait Is Over on Saturday night. Chris Eubank Jr. takes on Liam Smith in a grudge match. A man who knows a thing or two about grudge matches is beside me, George Groves. George, what a fight we have.
Yeah, we do. We have a great fight. I think it is truly split on opinions on who's going to win this fight, you know, and I don't know if it's the Liverpudlian crowd who were getting in with large vocals, because when it was first made, I thought, I'll make Eubank, you know, a solid favourite here, but even my opinion's kind of been swayed as the fight gets closer. Yeah. It's an interesting one. It's a really interesting one, and it makes for a great fight to have in January of all times.
Would you say, you know, as the fight draws closer, the public opinion is getting a bit closer? Because I feel like when it got announced, Eubank might have been not heavy favourite, but considered the favourite, the slightly younger, maybe more athletic man, maybe more explosive man. But as time goes on, are people beginning to appreciate just how good Liam Smith is at doing the basics?
Yeah, well, Liam Smith is a talented fighter to start with, but he's a dogged, tough, experienced, tenacious fighter who's been a pro now for, I think he said 15 years. I mean, I wouldn't dispute it. He's been a fighter for his whole life. You know, he's from a boxing family, as in him and his siblings have been boxers. And he's boxed at the highest level as an amateur as well as a pro. So former world champion, sure, moving up to middleweight. But he's in there with Chris Eubank Jr., who hasn't yet won a world title, doesn't have an amateur pedigree. And you know, maybe his best is yet to come, but maybe not. Maybe he's stuck in that sort of that middle phase where he's now working with Roy Jones Jr. and people are accusing him of sort of being stuck between styles. He's fought as high as super middleweight, now back down at middleweight. Is the weight cut tough? There's lots of variables that are being thrown in now for us who are here to analyse it, to sort of try and get our heads around. It does make for a much more competitive fight.
Well, nobody will know what it's like to fight Chris Eubank Jr. better than you. You've been in there, albeit you are a bit bigger than Liam Smith and you've got longer levers and you're the bigger man when you fought him. What is it like in there? What do you think it's going to be like in there for Liam Smith? What does he have to look out for? You know, what strengths can he impose? What does he have to do to win this fight?
So, to start with what Eubank Jr. does well, and this is providing that he can get down from super middleweight to middleweight without draining the resources and losing some of these attributes. But he has a world-class engine, you know, a frightening engine. You know, he's for me, coming as an opponent of his, I'm thinking, right, this guy will throw punches, you know, until they switch the lights off tonight. So, you know, you can't really match him for endurance. You have to beat him another way. He's very strong. He's very tough. He's got good punch power. He's got decent hand speed. He throws really good bent arm shots. So that when you're in that close to mid-range, he can be dangerous.
Which is where Liam will be, you presume, most of the fight.
And we assume Liam Smith, who does like to march forward, fight off the front foot. Sure, he'll be slipping out to his left side, trying to pop out with a jab. He will try to time a right hand over the top, and then from there build the combinations in. There'll be, you know, hooks to the body, hooks to the head. He'll be looking to finish the exchanges down. I think that's how he's going to win this fight. Yeah. So we already heard his team and some of the other team that are sort of extended team. They're talking about Liam Smith winning on points. I think that's a sensible way to look at it. Yeah. Eubank has been in with big guys, big super middleweights, and, you know, sort of taking the punches. He's known for having a good chin. As long as, I say, he's weight trained at middleweight, that will be the case. So Liam Smith's got to look for a points win. He's going to do that with his craftiness, his cleverness, his boxing, old school not old school, sorry, he's an old man, is that the
Yeah.
way we always describe it in the
Yes,
project.
yeah,
He's
the
an old
old
man
man
in Bernard Hopkins. He's going to
Yeah.
do it with a bit of craftiness, a bit of cleverness. Rip the carpet from underneath Eubank and then look for a point to win. And I'm, at this point, as I say, a day out from the fight, with any conviction, I wouldn't put my house on Eubank winning. I still make him a favourite, but there's a massive question mark above him.
Let's look at a little bit further down the card. There's obviously the Richard Riakporhe fight against Glowacki, but the more interesting fight that people seem to want to see more than anything is the Chris Congo fight. He's fighting a tough, durable opponent and an unbeaten British title holder in Uusiman. And that fight seems to be a genuine 50-50 as well. Do you know much about that?
Yeah, I haven't seen an awful lot of Echo, but I know Chris Congo pretty well. I used to train with his brother Obed on the squad, and then seeing Chris come through the pro ranks has been a delight for me. I think he's an exquisite, talented fighter who maybe just hasn't quite had his break yet. Really big for the weight, throws long, loose shots. He's going to be under pressure. It's going to be a tough fight for him. But this may be, the best opportunity for him to have the spotlight shone upon him and perform. I'd like to see Congo win. Them two might even end up stealing the show.
Yeah, I reckon they will. Chris Congo's over there. I'm going to swap you out for him now. Chris, let's get him in. Thanks, George. See you tomorrow.
See you, Tottenham boys. What's going on?
All right, let's talk about it. There's no point talking about top of the bill.
Yeah.
A lot of people are interested in your fight with Echo. A lot has been said.
Yeah.
There's been a perfect amount of needle. I don't think it's gone over. I think you're both laser focused now. How are you feeling going into this fight?
I feel good now. Very confident in the work that we've done in the gym and the studying that we've been doing with Echo, and just we believe his strengths are going to play into my hands, and the habits that he has are all going to be exposed.
When you were doing the face-off, you said to him, we've got the scouting report on you. We know everything we need to know. We've got you.
For sure.
Have you had inside information? Do you know about his preparation? Do you know how he's looking in the gym? Or are you basing that off recent fights and his most recent fight with Samuel Antu?
I'm basing that on most recent fights. We don't need to be asking questions about making phone calls to see what he's doing, because it's all there on the internet. His last couple of fights is there. In terms of him, I know he's been trying to make phone calls with me and my team. He said to me on the face-off, he's been speaking to McKinson about me. So he's worried. He's actually worried. I believe in the face-off that we had today, I could physically see him shaking. Yeah, I ain't had no opponent that I faced seen them shake, and he was shaking.
Do you reckon it's because of the occasion, or do you think it's the weight?
It might be the weight, because they said he looked drawn out. I can understand. I've been drinking water all week. To be honest, I was supposed to fight in November, then December, and January. So I've been on point with my weight. Haven't let it get too far ahead, and making the weight for this fight was easy. But I don't know what it's like for him if he struggled. But a lot of people said they could see it. He looked really, really drawn in. So we'll see tomorrow night.
Your fight is obviously the fight that has, caught the attention of people. But the fight that we're here to see as well is Chris Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith. Who do you fancy in that fight? How do you think that fight goes?
I think it's a good fight. The thing about it is I see Liam as a better technician, but I haven't seen Chris Eubank Jr. lose to a come-forward fighter. If it was a case where Liam was more boxing on the back foot, I could see it edging towards Liam. But now, obviously, he's fighting Liam, and obviously Liam's going to come forward as usual. He don't know any other way.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I got Eubank Jr.
Interesting. Is there anything else, any other fights on the card that you're particularly looking used to, or are you going to get in there, not put the TV on, just focus on your fight, and then worry about everything else after?
100%. That's the main thing. Worrying about just this fight per se. Every time I'm on Eubank Jr. undercards, I have a lot of my best performances. So
It's true.
Maybe it's just that time again. And like I've said previously, it's been a long time coming. You know, a very long time coming. Anybody that knows me knows I've been grinding and struggling in this game. And is this my time? I don't know. We'll see. But 2 years ago, I was supposed to fight for a British eliminator. It didn't happen. A couple years before that, English, Southern area. I've had so much pullouts, so much things that's happened in my career to get me this far. I mean, I'll probably be emotional tomorrow when I win the British title. So, yeah, man, I can't wait.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to bring in your trainer,
Yes, sir.
Ben Davison. Ben, speak to us. How's he looking?
Yeah, very good. Chris is a great student, and anything you ask for him to do, he applies it with the best of his ability. So that's all you can ask for, and it's a pleasure to coach.
He is he's massive for anyone at 147.
For sure.
He's going to have length and reach on Echo. Is the game plan, without giving too much away, to make Echo pay for all the space he's trying to steal?
Yeah, to a degree. I think it depends on how Echo approaches the fight as well. So Chris is prepared for certain tendencies that Echo obviously has. However, how fast and how quickly he looks to close the gap and how much pressure he is looking to apply will depend on how Chris looks to make him pay. But like you said, Chris is a big lad, but he can dig as well. And something that we've worked on is finishing the fight early if that opportunity comes available. And if that situation occurs, I can see Chris doing that.
It was a tense stare down. There's been a bit of needle, as you would expect. They were always kind of on a collision course. Mm-hmm. Do you think that today's antics and the little bits of talking here and there, the little bit of needle, will affect how Echo approaches this fight? Do you feel like he might try and press more? Or do you think that he knows Chris potentially wants him to push him and might back off a little bit?
Yeah, look, Echo was also on the GB squad as well, so and he's won this British title outright, not just by being a reckless come-forward fighter. So he's got layers to his game, and that has to be respected. And that's why I'm saying I can't just say it'll 100% be this one approach and this one way. He's a very, very good fighter, but of course, for both guys, the magnitude of the fight and the magnitude of the event, and how hyped up the public themselves have got about this matchup on this card, on such a big card, I think speaks volumes, and that itself could play a part on obviously how both guys approach the fight and how controlling their emotions in this fight could be a factor as well.
Let's go top of the bill now. Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr. What do you expect from that fight? It seems that everyone is split and changing on the hour, every hour, as to what they think is going to happen. Can you see a clear winner?
I don't think there's a 100% clear winner. How I'm picturing the fight is I can imagine Eubank starting off on the back foot. Liam Smith's a very good fighter, and Liam Smith closing the gap and almost getting on top of Eubank to a degree, and then Eubank reverting to okay and matching him in that way up close. And I think then it becomes an entertaining fight and one that's up for grabs because Liam's seasoned, experienced, been in there with the likes of Canelo, Munguia. So he's been through some tough patches and some rough patches and mixed it with some of the best operators in the world. But Chris is very good up close as well and got a phenomenal engine, very strong. I don't know if you'd say size advantage. I suppose he does have a slight natural size advantage. But I think either way, it ends up being a great matchup for the fans to watch as well.
Do you think there's a danger of, because Liam is a bit of a come-forward fighter and he does have that high, tight guard, that Eubank will try and detonate that uppercut straight away?
Yeah, he will be looking for that. He would, naturally. But I think, he won't be the first person that said, "Oh, Liam Smith, I can bring him onto an uppercut." But again, he's a lot cuter and a lot more intelligent than people give him credit for, Liam Smith.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as straightforward as that for sure. But I do see it ending up close quarters and really catching fire.
if you have to put a pound somewhere, a winner and a method, where would you put that pound? It's a tough one. Honestly, I've been trying to ask myself that question as well. I think I've ended up as a Liam Smith points, maybe just outfoxing, being a little bit cuter and being a bit
I'm not
busier.
a betting man, so I'd probably put 50p on one and 50p on the other.
That's the answer I should have given. That's the answer I should have given. As soon as you said that, I knew. Are there any other fights on the bill that you're particularly looking forward to, or are you just focusing on top of the bill and Chris Congo?
Yeah, I'm just focused on Chris Congo, to be honest, but it's a great card, a massive event. I think it has captured the public's imagination. Eubank gets a lot of criticism, but I think that he plays his character very, very well. And obviously the promotion that Sky have put behind it and Boxer, it's made it for a big event, and I think that a lot of people are excited for tomorrow night.
I think we all are. Thank you very much, Ben. Have a good
problem.
night. Nice, quiet night. I think we're going to steal Spencer. Boys, where are you?
Let's move this crew over, mate.
Let's
I
get
have to go this side.
Oh.
It's my better side. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, look at him. What a bully.
You know what I mean?
What a card. What a card.
What an entrance.
Decent.
Yeah.
I feel like a bit
Yo,
part. I feel like a bit part actor.
Well, do you know what? In a minute, I'm going to give this to you, and you're going to take
Oh,
over.
you trying to get
But
out of
just
it?
for now. No.
Wait, you smell good. What you got?
It's a secret.
What is that?
It's a secret.
Is it called secret?
No. It's called Satin,
I can lick it.
satin Mood. Smell all right. I smell
You
all
know
right.
what? I mean, it's been a strange week, isn't it? It's been a strange week. It's been a strange
top
week.
of the bill. In fact, you know, both of you.
Yeah, go on.
Where you going?
Come on, let's do it. Should we talk about the card?
Let's do it, man. Let's do
Where
it.
should we go? From the bottom or the top? Let's go from the top.
We'll
Let's
go
talk
from
about
the, we'll go
top
from
of
the, we'll
bill
go from the
down.
top down.
Top
He
of the bill
smells
down.
good, you know.
Really? Yeah, we've got to keep our eye on him. Keep our eye on him.
Yeah, top of the bill. I
Yeah.
think you know
Eubank
it's
Jr. and Liam Smith.
been
Who
an
wins
interesting
and
week.
how?
I think I'd go for it change, you know. I said Smith at first. Smith's got the pedigree, he's got the skill, he's got the talent. He's not the fighter he was, but the fighter he is to beat most fighters just outside fringe world title level. But he's not the fighter he was. Eubank, he's a champ slayer. You know, look at the people he's beat. They were past the best. James DeGale, Abraham, people like that. And he's got a great engine. George Groves says the guy can take a dig. Can take a dig. He's got an amazing engine. So therefore, he's naturally a bigger fighter. So if these two meet at the right time, who do I go with? I go with Eubank. I think Smith will try and put him under pressure, walk him down, hope he makes mistakes and pick him off that way. He don't want to do that with Chris because I think Chris will be too busy and too strong for him.
See, this is the way that I see it. I see it as in, I think Eubanks now has brought in the new trainer, Roy Jones, and we've seen glimpses of brilliance from Eubanks in recent fights. Liam Williams, we go back to his last fight in February of last year, and we saw after 5 or 6 rounds he was boxing beautifully, moving on his back foot, and I think that's the tactics he's going to apply. Yeah. I think he's going to come out, box and bash, he's going to be trying to move around, but I think that actually suits Liam Smith. Yeah. Smith's great at closing the gap, getting inside, and he's an underrated body puncher.
Do you think's a better boxer and better fighter?
I think that Liam Smith has probably got the better boxing IQ of the two. I think he's the more seasoned all-rounder. Everything he does is good. But we see glimpses of brilliance from Eubank. And that's what I'm saying. And do you know, there's one thing that's concerning me with the whole Eubank thing as well. I'm not sure how his hands are. Yeah. Like, he had big problems, and fair play to him, he didn't talk about it after the Liam Williams fight, because he said, you know what, what's the point? People are only going to slag me off and talk about me, talking about, you know, poor performances, etc. I think if his hands hold out, and I don't know why I picked up on this, but I think if his hands hold out, then he's going to be a tough one to beat. But I'm not sure if that's going to play a part. Johnny, you know, as you get older as a fighter, when you pick up those injuries, they're hard to shake off.
That's right. The older you are, the longer you're stuck with them.
He's been around 12 years now, Eubank, as a pro. Like Smith's been around 15 years. Their careers are sort of running parallel, as in the winner goes on and he boxes for the world title. Possibly
Triple G, listen, a good fight, a realistic fight now is Triple G. Triple G is high. When Chris was talking about it, you went, nah, man, not now. But right now, it's a realistic fight that could happen. And I agree. I think Smith is a better boxer.
The loser's the career's over, surely.
I think Smith would struggle to settle to lose to him.
Here?
Yeah, to lose to him. He couldn't accept that. He just couldn't live with that. He's not that kind of guy. And realistically, everybody's looking at Eubank because he's the son of Chris Senior. You know, they're looking at him as a gimmick. It's hard to give him that full respect. I suppose it's like when he turned pro, when Conor Benn turned pro, even Ricky Hatton's son turned pro. The boxing fraternities don't give them the respect they deserve because they think you've got a leg up because of who your dad is.
But here's one for you, right? When this fight was announced, I think Liam Smith is a guy that's sort of like, because he's never been really that outspoken, that vocal, he's a guy that's achieved a lot and maybe gone under the radar a little bit, maybe not got the recognition he's deserved. But I think when this fight was announced, people automatically went, Eubank's the star, and that's why they give him the edge on it. But when you actually break down the layers and go through everything, you go, we got a serious fight here.
That's right.
And Smith's a hard guy to beat. If you go on last performances, you go, Smith didn't put in a particularly good performance.
Smith's pedigree is much better.
His pedigree is incredible.
Much better than Eubank. So, but then that's why it's a good fight. I think time is everything. Yeah. And with time being the way it is, you can't beat it. I think it works perfectly. So that next down on the card, who have we got?
We've got Richard Riakpo.
Glavatsky.
Yeah.
I think Richard Riakpo against Glavatsky. I think. Excuse my French, this is where he's got to get his shit together. Yeah. Everything has to come in order. His confidence has to match his ability. He's a very talented fighter that can bang. He's an overthinker, so therefore he thinks twice before he lets a shot go. And with Glavatsky, former WBO champion, he beat Marco Huck for the title in New York.
Lost in 3 rounds to Marius Bradis more recently.
Lost to a Coley.
Lost to
Usyk. Yeah. But he's got quit in him. And we can say that because we're fighters. Now, the average man in the street can't say that because they've never done it. He's got quit in him. And so, Richard needs to bully the life out of him. He needs to hurt him. He don't want to give this guy confidence because the more confidence he gets, the more success he gets, the better fight becomes as the rounds go on.
Would you be fair to say that this is a sort of coming-of-age fight for Richard, who's knocking on the door for world title honours? And boxers at the moment are cleaning up with the cruiserweight division. You know, they've got Chris Billam-Smith, who's just coming off a good win. Lawrence Okole's now coming over. So it's going to be easy to make these fights.
Exactly.
I mean, how good would that fight be with Riakpo, Lawrence Okole?
Exactly. And listen, you could get to a stage where Billam-Smith has won the IBF title. Lawrence wins the WBC title or WBA title. And Richard winning WBC or WBA title. Then you've got Okole. These fights can be made. Fighters from all around the world want to come to the UK because the fan base is better, the exposure is better, and the money's here.
But I expect Riakpo to get the job done inside the distance. I think it's a dangerous fight, a potential banana skin, but I think he wins in style.
They've got to get in his head, and give him a hard time. Joseph Parker.
I want to talk about this one. Joseph Parker, Jack Massey. I mean, right, you see that on paper and you go, really?
Yeah.
Really? Heavyweight versus a cruiserweight who's been slightly inactive, never been given the opportunity. Lost to Richie Riakpo in 2019 at York Hall. Goes back, rebuilds, win the IBO title. Then the door shuts. No opportunities. Strip him of the title. He's got to go back to work, Johnny, as a scaffolder over Christmas to make ends meet and the phone rings. But not only that, the stuff that's been going on in his personal life, the turmoil that this guy's been through. You know, and you go, the phone rings, and I spoke to him in a week, and he went, mate, do not underestimate me. Parker's coming off a 11-round bashing, and it was a beating. You don't know how that affects fighters. Yeah. He's coming off that. He said, so his confidence is at a low, and he went, what I've been through in my last 12 months, he said, this is me, someone giving me that lottery ticket, and I want to take it and cash it in. That's an interesting fight, that.
I'm telling
you,
for
those reasons.
And that's what I'm saying. My worry was, what's his motivation? Is his motivation that he wants to now step into the heavyweight ranks? Is his and have a career of it, or is his motivation that, you know what, I was skint over Christmas, I've got no money, needs to make a bit of dough? If that's his motivation, he's in the wrong place to play that game.
But surely a fighter,
but he can do it because Parker's not the biggest heavyweight.
No. But surely a fighter it's all about opportunity. Yeah. And a fighter goes, if that's your motivation to go, I just want to cash out. you shouldn't be there anyway.
Yeah, come tell me,
surely he's going to go. From what he tells me, and I believe it, because I spoke to him on a podcast, and I believe what he was saying. He went, mate, don't write me off here. Yeah. I'm going for it. It's an interesting one.
And that's what I'm saying. And the thing is, a lot of cruiserweights can beat heavyweights, but in certain heavyweights, you avoid like the plague. If you're giving away high weight, reach, forget it. Unless you're a Mike Tyson, he's a freak. These two guys are the same height. These two, Massey, Massey can beat him. He can pickpocket him. Yeah. I know Parker's coming £10 lighter than he did in his last fight.
Wow.
So
he's taking it serious.
Yeah, he's got to take it serious because Parker, if he wants to be respected as he's still in the top 10 in the heavyweights. If he wants to be respected in that situation, he's got to win this fight.
Sure.
He can't struggle. He's got to win.
Yeah.
So he's a good fight, tough fight.
And possibly this is a potential fight of the night contender. Yeah. We've seen it, no love lost between these two. You know where I'm going. Uusiman versus Chris Congo. Yeah, both guys are on a roll. Yeah. Again, there's a lot for the winners again.
Uusiman, he trains down the road from me in Nottingham. I know the boys that he works with. They're diligent about the work. Chris Congo, I like him. I like his attitude. I like the fact he needs a chip on his shoulder to go in there with a bit of attitude and a bit of stink. And I like that. And so that fight, I think I agree with you. Fight of the night.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well,
yes, big man.
Geese walked in. He's bigger than you, mate. I didn't realise you were that big.
To say, Johnny's the only guy.
I didn't realise he's that big, mate.
He's the only guy who actually feels small.
Listen, and you know the mad thing. I mean, I would never do this publicly, but we've been talking.
Yeah.
Just gonna leave it there, yeah. And come on the show. Just gonna go. You know what I mean? We've been having private conversations.
Don't let looks deceive you.
Just watch this space. Watch this space. Us, Jordan, you here, mate?
Yes, mate.
Big night of boxing Saturday night. What are you most looking forward to?
I mean, I think the entire card is awesome. I'm excited to see Fraser Clark get back out this time. Obviously, we've got Congo. That's going to be a sick fight. So I'm just taking all this stuff. I literally just walked in the hotel, man. I look like I've dressed for the North Pole or something. But I mean, the main event is going to be sick, right? It's one of them fights where I keep flipping and flopping. It's genuinely one of them ones where it is a 50-50. I know we have a lot of fights where the guy is 50-50. You don't know that.
If you've got to put your name to something,
mate. Do you know, yesterday I said Eubank, and today I'm saying Smith, and then I want to say Eubank again. Now I just don't know. I genuinely don't know.
You know that flipping and flopping? I'm telling you now, the Smiths hate that. They hate the fact that you think he can be beaten by Chris Eubank Jr. They hate that. They're no nonsense kind of guys.
Junior is the same. He's like Junior in his head. Speaking to him in the week, and he's like, "Do you seriously think this is a 50-50 fight? Like that's?" And you go over to the Smith camp, and they go, "Mate, are you mad?"
Who are you putting your money on?
I've gone Smith.
Sorry, Spence. I'm gonna just for this one, mate. I have to step over
it. I'm sorry, bro. Stay over there, mate. You stay. No, do you know what? I'm gonna defend my case here. Like,
let me know why.
It's one of them, right? This is true. And I know it's easy to say that and you go, "Oh, you're just sitting on the fence, splinters and all that." Flip of a coin, mate, because we've all got an opinion on this one, but none of us really know until they get in there and you see. We'll probably know after 2 or 3 rounds. You'll see it unfold and go. Right. But there's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes in this one. With Eubanks, the fragile hands, can he go through 12 rounds? With Smith, what has he actually got left? What sort of desire has he got left?
That calculated pressure.
You know, because there's a lot of talk, like, at this stage, people going, is he cashing out? Yeah. Has he still got the ambition? Because when you've won the world title, Johnny, you'll know this better than anyone. When you've won a world title, like, Eubanks is still chasing the dream. He's not.
True. There's still a lot of hunger there, I feel like, in Eubank. I feel like he's got a lot to prove. What I will say is, with Eubank, I think it depends what Eubank turns up. I feel like with Liam Smith, not what you see is what you get, but
yeah, you know what you're going to get.
You kind of do.
Yeah,
with Eubank, I'm not sure. Are we going to see the kind of flip-flopping between styles? We're going to see what we saw against Liam Williams, and I'm hearing there that his hand was hurt, and this is why the fight went the way it did, and there wasn't a stoppage, and there wasn't this, and there wasn't that. But I just don't know. I
think Smith's going to come on with calculated pressure. That's how he beats fighters. And that calculated pressure will that work, that style work against Eubank?
I'm not sure. I mean, Eubank loves guys like that. I mean, I'm not saying that Eubank's had someone who's come forward, put pressure on him to this level of skill.
Yeah, but you know what? When I watched Eubank against Liam Williams, his last fight, when you saw that transition with him and Roy Jones, I'm going, he's caught between styles. I don't think it's going to work. Against Williams, for 4 rounds or 5 rounds, I went, wow.
Yeah.
Like brilliance. Like he had it, he nailed it, and I was going, that's a huge improvement. Then the second half of the fight, he took his foot off the gas, and I think that was down to injuries to his hands.
He can't afford to do that in this fight. I think Smith is far too smart, too sharp, and on it for that. He can't let that.
And arguably, I'd say Smith's of a level where every time we've seen Eubank kind of step up to that level, he has kind of fallen short a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we have seen that happen. Obviously, we saw an awesome fight with James DeGale, but then that being said, James DeGale wasn't the DeGale that we know he could have been from back in the day. It was a bit late for him in the game. So I genuinely, that's why I keep saying this fight is so exciting. There's so many variables: who turns up, how they turn up, what style they bring, what happens.
What do you read into the weight? You know, look, that Smith has campaigned his career at 154. Eubanks is at 160, been as high as 168. Looks comfortable, and he's tight at 60 as well.
Yeah.
So he's the much bigger man. There'll be a big difference in there when you get in there. But Smith says at this stage of his career, this is where he's comfortable. 160. Do you read anything into that?
Well, to be fair, I think there's being comfortable at a weight, and then there's being a weight where, to be fair, you can't argue the fact that Eubank is just a bigger guy. And when you are a come-forward fighter, when you are aggressive, and you have got someone with the work rate of Eubank, I'm not sure. I think with Liam Smith, he's got... I'm not saying he's the fastest or the hardest hitter in the world, but he's got wicked timing. His timing is beautiful.
But you know what, speaking to George Groves, he said when he boxed Chris, he said the boy can take a lick.
Yeah.
He said he whacked him, and this guy walked straight. He said, so I'm struggling to see how Liam hurts him.
But if even George Groves is saying that, he's big. He's a big man at that weight.
Yeah.
And that's the point. I personally, in a professional fight, I know he talks of sparring, I know he talks everything else, cut above his eyes, hand hurt, whatever it is. I've never seen Eubank truly hurt to the point in the fight where you go, this is trouble. And I know we keep hearing, oh, he's weak to the body, he's weak to this, he's weak to that. I saw him on them scales as I was walking in here today. Guy don't look weak. Do you know what I mean? He looks strong and he looks ready, and I think he's got a lot to prove.
Well, it's in the DNA, innit? The old man's like that. Like, you can't crack the old man. Like, he was the toughest guy. Chris Senior was the toughest
Listen, Chris Senior
guy.
came to our gym. I seen him take a shellacking day after day after day after day, and he would not go down. Never seen him go down. And he was tough, and I think Junior's just like his dad.
And I think that's the question, really. Do you think Liam Smith is the first man ever to stop Eubank Jr.? I don't think that's the case.
Good scout.
I mean, when you put it like that, I don't think he's going to stop him, and then we just need to see what Eubank turns up. How is he going to fight? Is he going to try and be this kind of mid-ground Roy Jones slip boxer? Is he going in there for a tear-up? I just don't think that no matter what happens, this is a tough fight for Eubank. There's no way he won't revert back to the Eubank we know. He's going to get drawn into that.
Just want to tip you off. You know they're sat behind you now, don't you? Liam.
Do you know what? I think I might get a drink, lads. I might get a drink before I get chinned by the Smith brothers.
No, he's gone.
Oh my God.
Well,
they're in the corner. They're in the corner.
Johnny, Jordan's shaking now, mate, so let's just leave it there. I think that's a great breakdown of the rest of the bill. And, roll on Saturday night. Nice. Did work, working. All right. I didn't know the name of the show.